모든 건 변했다. 히트 시즌2.
We're back here at the SPL for more great games. We just had an insane series between Jinair and KT Rolster that Jinair was able to take, but we're going to jump into MVP Chicken Maru versus the Afreeca Freaks.
That's right. Now, these are two teams that, you know, are definitely two of the weaker teams, so I know a lot of people might be like, well, I saw the good games and now I'm out. No, these are going to be good games as well, and we're starting things off with GuMiho versus Patience, two good friends, as you guys can see on the stage here. But MVP is looking very improved recently. They look like a new team in some of the last matches. Ryung also really looking solid in the last few games he's played. He's been consistently fielded by MVP. But you can really say the same of Afreeca. Their win with Curious on the Ace match on New Gettysburg, great play. They took another win here in Pro League. And you know, these two teams trying to fight their way into playoffs seems unlikely, but possible. You know, it is.
Well, it's looking more likely for the Afreeca Freaks. They're sitting at 2-2, and they've definitely got a good shot here, especially that you know, they got MVP up here. Definitely the weakest team right now in Pro League. They have improved, but for me, the hype is really behind Afreeca and their team because it's looking more and more, especially with CJ not doing that well, Samsung really falling behind as well, that Afreeca is actually going to be our fourth team. It's not decided yet, but it's looking like Afreeca is in a position now to take that fourth spot into the ground
You make
playoffs.
such a good point because realistically, like,
whoa,
I went like too far. I'm like, all right, pull that back up a little bit. All right, there you go.
Let me do that too. I
so
can't. Mine doesn't
realistically,
go down.
we're talking about who takes CJ's spot this year because CJ was consistently top 4 for years, in fact, actually. And won the last Broodlord Bird League as well. Or no, that was actually STX that did that, if I'm not mistaken. I'm getting it all mixed up. Anyway, CJ is basically out. That team is barely alive. They have 4 players, basically, that actually play the game.
They have Hero.
Yeah, they have Hero, but like he's not even doing so well.
Well, he's 14-5, but
yeah, but I mean that was the beginning of the season. Right now, he's like he's losing a lot of games he shouldn't be.
No, he's winning, but he's like the only player that's winning. You know?
That's also true. But I mean, I feel like he's not even winning every time anymore. It's like if you've only got one player that can win and he can't even do it every time anymore, that's a problem. I'm not trying to say CJ's going to disband or anything. I'm not going crazy with that, but we're looking for the new 4th team. That's looking to be up there with Jinair and the KT companies, SKT and KT. And I don't know. I mean, it looks like it might yet again be Afreeca. Afreeca once was Startail, once was also Spenu. Got a playoff once, and then they forfeited because they couldn't show. That's really unfortunate, but like they're looking to get there again.
Yeah, so we are going to jump into our first matchup here. These guys, very good friends, been around for a while. They've played tons of games against each other.
28. Now, that comes from the fact that both these players are known to play online tournaments. So I think a lot of those, because it said including unofficial, are those online tournaments. Now, I'm going GuMiho here.
This really surprises me. I'm so surprised that they actually went all for Patience. He had like a couple of sick games, and he was taking out huge players. But then, like, he had a couple of weak ones. He's looking inconsistent. Whereas GuMiho is looking really consistent against Protoss. See how it goes down on Frozen Temple. Down here in the bottom right, in the teal for MVP, it is GuMiho, the towel turn.
That's right. And his opponent to the top left in purple, it is Patience, the ex-Dead Pixels player. As the exodus of mercenary Koreans occurred with the new WCS rules for 2016, he was one of the players that got put back onto a Korean KESPA team and has shown his potential quite often. I feel like he's, if I could compare him to one other player, he really reminds me, it's like his first time watching Starcraft 2, but he really reminds me of Solar. He's like the Protoss version of Solar, and yes, Solar has had more results overall, but I'm really reminded of his playstyle, playing on a foreign team, being very into online tournaments, the international scene, and obviously joining Dead Pixels for a while, along with other players like Fantasy. He gives me that same kind of vibe, But GuMiho has been around since the beginning, just like Lena, ex-teammates, as I was talking about before, on Epics Open, FOU. Been around for a long time. Whoa!
Look at this.
He's back! I don't know who he is, but he's back. This one's for you, featuring David Guetta. I don't know, guys. He's back.
What is that even referring to? I feel like I just missed some joke. I went right over my head. I'm like,
I look at him and I'm like, I don't recognize him. At first, when his sign was covering half his face, I was like, is that Shine? I'm like, no, it's not Shine. He's not back. He's just observing the GSL over there on the other side of the studios. Now, GuMiho is the kind of guy who, like, this isn't the map for it, in my opinion. He's the kind of guy I'd be terrified if you put a Cyclone in his hands and we see that Cyclone-type push. I feel like his control in the early game has been proven multiple times by his Reaper openings, which he still even sometimes uses today in this matchup. But he put a Cyclone early game kind of build into his hands, and the results could be terrifying. We're not going to see that build this game, but just something that I was thinking about before the game started, as that's kind of been a new thing in the matchup. We saw the Bravo highlight earlier.
Saying Patience sings well.
Looks like a video of him at the Noribong or something playing on Facebook.
The guy actually has his phone and is playing a video. I don't think we're going to get that on camera, but maybe you guys could look that up somewhere. Patience singing. I don't know where you would find it, but it's out
probably
there.
On his Facebook. I think his Facebook is public. Like he posts public posts, like I do. Like if you have Facebook, even if you're not friends, somebody can see their public posts. So anyway, it is going to be a Tech Lab opening here of some kind, and that does mean that it could be the Cyclone opening.
I think it will be. I mean, he's been doing this so consistently in this matchup. What I was saying right before we went into the game was that he's just so solid against Protoss right now. He really has the style figured out, although...
already a free adept kill.
Oh, there we go. He is going for a tank, which is where that although came from, and this means that maybe he wants to play it a bit differently on this map. Maybe he wants to get a bit more aggressive.
The other thing, too, is that he could just make the Cyclone after the tank. After he does maybe a drop early on, he might even leave this tank at home just in case of counter pressure while he's going for the drop. There's a lot of different things he can do. There's a lot of options here. I think he will actually bring the tank with him, but he has enough Marines where he can do a full Marine drop. Look, with the SCV coming here, this is starting to look like a soft contain. We're going to see the bunkering. There's the Cyclone. We are seeing this build, and again, I feel like this kind of strategy coming from a player with GuMiho, we've already seen him do it before, but it's terrifying. It's a terrifying sight to behold, and Patience is about to behold it.
Ooh, bit of a mistake here. Free SCV.
This is not the end of the world because he can simply send another one, but it is kind of painful because he wanted to have that set up right away.
Yeah. Well,
he's bringing 4 more, in fact.
Okay.
So this is for repairs.
That was
and
the fake
bunkering.
scout. That was the fake scout, and now he moves back. But this is going to be scouted with the observer.
He can double bunker with this many SCVs. In fact, he can even try to triple bunker.
There's only one pylon at the front.
It's a mistake, and it can be targeted down very quickly.
Where's the mothership core?
I don't know, but it needs to be here. It's in the middle of the map. No, okay, never mind. I'm sorry, my bad. This bunker is in range. A bit of a placement mistake, but he's going to replace one bunker for now because he doesn't want. He wants the 2 bunkers when it's actually in range of the Nexus.
He needs more pylons. He's making them now.
Cyclone's already here. That pylon's dead, and now he can actually start the extra bunkering. Here we go. He's moving forward.
Look at what Patience has. He's desperately trying to get out of Immortal, and even then, that's probably not going to be enough. This is so many units coming out of GuMiho.
The pylon dies before it can even finish. The second one will follow the same fate. It looks like, okay, well, we'll get a few overcharged shots off. The tank perfectly placed. Now he's logged onto the mothership. There's SCVs for repairs. Down it goes. To be totally frank, I don't like to use the D word, but this is a disappointing performance by Patience. How can 2...
And you know what? This is what we saw the last game from him, too. This is what I'm talking about. He was looking fantastic, taking out huge names, and then he just dropped the ball in a couple of games. And all right,
I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something controversial. How can 2 foreign commentators who are not pro gamers, and I myself don't even regularly play the game, predict that GuMiho will do this build, and Patience cannot, and cannot set up a defense? GG. How can I predict it when he cannot?
That's controversial.
Bad preparation. GuMiho showing this build. This build is on the rise. He has 1 pylon in a very snipeable location. He adds his pylons late after scouting. I know, I'm disappointed. GuMiho, just a solid player, good micro, gets the lockdown onto the mothership core to finish it off. And an easy win.
GTR gets his first prediction of the night. I'm sure he's happy about that one.
Yeah, he's in the crowd actually as well.
Yeah.
He's watching with us today.
He was 0-5 in the first one, but me and you, Wolf, also jumping on that one. So you're actually in first place right now.
That's right.
I'm tied with Daehun for second. And yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think it's just poor preparation. GuMiho showed a build like this before. This is a bit more aggressive. But it's a really strong build. It's a two-player map. It's not the longest rush distance in the world. And the fact that he just like kind of let him set up, didn't have extra pylons, didn't have extra gates for more units.
Yeah, I mean,
he needed more stuff, right? But he just didn't have it. He didn't have it prepared.
I said, you know, at the beginning, I was like, we could see it. It's definitely a possibility, right? And then I was like, but I don't think so. But we saw it. He scouted it late. He didn't have the pylons in like the correct position. He didn't have enough units to hold there. I mean, it's not like
I mean, it was
like
at
he
the
screwed
front,
up the
but
defense,
he needed more pylons, right? He needed double overcharges, or he needed Immortals out sooner. Or
the overcharge
more
is also
units,
late.
You know, or kite the Marines across the map. Have your Stalkers more active out on the map. He needs to scout too. I don't think he got a scout of any of this.
Well, finally the Observer came. Kiting with the Stalkers, something he could have done before the Cyclone got there. Once the Cyclone gets there, obviously you can't really do that because you're going to lose your Stalkers. But I don't know. It felt lackluster. It didn't feel like he was really ready for that. And he didn't break the wheel and try to do something different. Like when it happened to Hero, he was like, okay, I've got a plan. I'm going to actually avoid this. I'm going to slow this down. Like that was like a good defense. What we saw there was quite frankly pretty weak.
I mean, it's one of those builds that if you don't prepare to defend it, you're going to lose, right? We've seen the build from Terran where they do the Hellbats with the Liberators come across against Zerg, and Biel played on Overgrowth and just got stomped. He wasn't prepared at all. He had no Banelings. And then today, we saw Leenock